Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Hardcore Female Bodybuilding Podcast. I'm Claudio, your host, and today I have a special guest. I have the honor to have here with me IFBB Pro women's physique competitor Angela Noury from the United States. Hi, Angela. Hi,
Hello there.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Excellent. Thank you for joining me today here in this call. Really appreciate it. So, can we start with you giving us just a brief introduction? Just tell us a little bit about yourselves for people that don't know you.
Sure. So Angela Noury. I have been competing for the past 15 years now. I've always been into fitness ever since I was 11 years old. I started working out at home in my bedroom.
Wow.
Joined a gym as soon as I was able to, which was at 15 years old, and I could go as much as my mom would bring me in her car. And then as soon as I had
All
my license, I
right.
was there every day after school for 2.5 hours every single day. So I
Fantastic.
was just an instant gym rat, and that's kind of where the whole competing thing stemmed from. I was also an athlete, basketball, volleyball. I did gymnastics, acrobats. When I got a little bit older, I did boxing and even wrestling. I did all kinds of different things. I used to be a runner too. I used to run like 10 miles a day for no reason. I was never on the track team. I just
10
was
miles.
just psychopath.
Wow. That's
No
impressive.
reason.
Yeah.
Just to prove that I could do it to myself.
Yeah.
A weirdo
That's
like
good.
that.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
I like to
Excellent.
challenge myself. I was always
Fantastic.
pretty decent at anything physical. So sports came kind of naturally to me, and anything hands on, I was always pretty decent at. So,
Hmm.
um, but I've always been into the lifting end of things. My dad used to work out at home, so I used to see him work out.
Okay.
So that's kind of what started it. Plus, I was obsessed with the Rocky movies. So,
Oh, yes. I think
mm,
I've heard you talking about it in
yeah.
another interview.
It's
Yeah.
it's so silly that that's kind of like where the whole thing like stemmed from. But I always looked at Sylvester Stallone in Rocky 3 and 4, and I was like, well, that's how everyone should
Wow.
look.
Yeah. That
You
was.
know, I just want to be the girl version of
I
that.
remember when I was a kid, watching, the Rocky Saga, Rambo,
Oh yeah,
or
right.
also the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie like Conan the Barbarian, and
Hmm. Yeah, I
that
loved
was
all that. Plus, I had an older brother, so like kind of the things that he was into, I was into
okay.
also. So I used to watch like wrestling and different things like
All
that. So
right,
like that
fair
kind of
enough.
yeah, it kind of set the tone. So then I just started working out at the gym when I was 15. Obviously, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just going there, and I loved being
Well,
there.
at
So
15, I wouldn't even know how to start picking up a dumbbell when I was
well, that's the
15.
whole thing. And like back then, I mean, not that I'm older, I'm 39, but when I was 15 years old, there was no YouTube. There was no like you're going to the
True.
to the gym with a if you're lucky, a Discman with the wire.
Yeah.
And then eventually like an iPod or whatever. But yeah, there was no YouTube, there was no like Googling. So you just kind of like had to learn as you go. I used to one of my techniques when I was younger to learn is I used to watch the trainers who I thought were in good shape themselves. I used to watch what they were doing with their clients, and I used to steal their exercises. I couldn't afford a
Good.
trainer. I was
Good.
15, you know.
Hmm.
But the trainers at the gym that I belonged to, which was a Bally's at the time, they used to see how hard I'd work when I'd go in there. So a lot of them would be like, "Let me just train you for the day," and they just like show me a couple different
Okay.
things, you know. So that's kind
Okay.
of how I started to learn. Um, anyway, so now fast forward to when I was like 24.
Hmm.
I was working in a gym. It was actually a Planet Fitness. I started working in gyms as when I was 19.
All
Um,
right.
yeah,
Okay.
so I've been in the fitness industry. Anyway, I started when I was 19. I started an all women's gym. I was actually a manager there, and then I ended up working at Planet Fitness.
Hmm.
One of the trainers there was this woman named Jeanette, and she always used to say to me, she was like, you should compete." Because my whole thing is I'll go into the
Okay.
gym, kill myself, like be there for hours. Because again, I loved it, but
So,
I didn't eat right.
so she saw potential in you. She saw the passion, and yeah, ask you if you were interested in competing, and did you ever
Right. She
thought
asked
of?
me a couple times before I
Okay.
said yes. So
Oh,
the
so
first show I did, she trained me for, and I only did like an 8 week prep. But I was only
okay,
doing bikini and like I don't want to say only, like
fair
it's nothing,
enough.
but
Yeah.
like it was also different 15 years ago, like the expectation, and it wasn't an NPC
Yes.
show. It was like a local show
Yep. Yep.
that
Yep.
doesn't even like exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I did 8 weeks of the diet, which isn't a long prep at all, but because I had never dieted like that before, I actually got the results
Okay.
like pretty quickly, and I looked pretty decent for my first show, just not having any clue what I'm doing, and only an 8 week prep. So, but that's what started the the bug, I guess, because I saw the difference
Okay.
I could make by just changing what I ate. And before I was like apprehensive of competing because I was like, I love to eat. I just want to eat. So I didn't want to give
Yeah.
that up. But then once I saw the change that I made so quick, it hooked me. So
Okay.
yeah, that's what started it.
So you
Uh,
embraced the process, despite the fact that, of course, you had to do some dieting. You couldn't eat the way you wanted, but
yeah, I couldn't eat
you still,
a large pizza by myself anymore.
yeah.
Damn
Well, yeah.
that was one of the things I used to do every week. I used to eat well, I was to split a large pizza with my boyfriend at the time. Then we used to
Mm-hmm.
go to the movies, and I used to get like the candy by the pound, and I
Oh,
used to get like
wow.
2 pounds of candy and eat. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was every week I did that. I can't do
Nice.
that now. I would die.
Of course. Yeah. No. I
it
mean,
it
yeah.
sounds like fun, but I die.
Yeah, I know the
um,
feeling because I've got this sweet tooth as well, and when I've got biscuits or ice cream stuff like that,
oh yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough to
I'm still a
resist.
sucker for cookies mashed up into a pint of ice cream.
Oh,
That's still my.
yeah, me
Yeah, I
too.
still
Me
like
too. It's
that.
tough.
I just try not to do it too often.
Fair enough, especially if you are a professional athlete. Of course, you need to.
Right, exactly. And then now it's just I'm so used to eating a certain way that
Yeah,
it
yeah,
just
yeah.
it's not worth it to feel that way. Like it would really
So,
back then I could do it because I like was used to doing it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
I can
yeah,
imagine.
now I can't. So anyway, so then when I was 24, that's when I competed for the first time. Um,
I
from
was
that point, go
I,
ahead.
I was stepping on stage for the first time when you were 24. You were doing bikini, you said? Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
Um,
Did you feel comfortable? Did you feel
no, not at all.
yeah?
Not at all.
Because for me, it's one of the scariest thing ever. Being on stage and show the hard work you've
Oh,
been.
it's like the dream you have that you're naked in front of
Yeah.
people. Like that's everyone's worst fear normally, right? Now that's not a nightmare. That's a dream.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But
Of course.
now I
Yeah.
look forward to those dreams.
Yes.
Um, so no, it was not comfortable. Couple different reasons, obviously, because it was my first time doing it. I had been on stage many times in my life, but it was because I was a dancer and I did
Oh,
acrobat.
okay.
So I was in competitions for that, and I was decent at it. And I did it for 8 years. So I was used to being on stage, but on stage with a group of people doing a routine. So it's a little bit different. And
Mm-hmm.
then like obviously you're not wearing a lot of clothes then either, but you have like a bodysuit on and your
Yeah, yeah,
leotards,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
so you're still covered. And no heels. That's a big thing.
Yeah,
Your
oh, yeah,
feet
yeah,
are
yeah,
on the
yeah,
ground.
yeah. Bikini, of
So,
course, you have to put on wheels
oh yeah, and I'm
the heels.
5'11".
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm 5'11". So you
All
put on
right.
heels,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
six
You're very
three.
tall. Yeah,
I'm six
yeah.
three in heels. It's
So,
insane. I
so
don't.
basically, you were the tallest of the whole lineup, I guess.
Let's put it this way. Even now it shows, with the exception of like men's physique category, I'm taller than everybody
Wow. Yeah, yeah,
all the
yeah, yeah.
time. Even bare feet, I still
Even
am.
barefoot, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm in a.
I've seen your videos competing on stage, and yeah, I can see you. You're taller than everyone. Yeah,
Oh yeah. Well, luckily the last not luckily it doesn't really matter. I'm used to being the tallest one, but the last show I did, which was a Clash in
the Clash, yeah.
Orlando, yeah, there was like 4 or 5 taller girls like
Oh,
around my
really?
height.
Oh,
Yep.
nice.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that was cool.
Oh,
we all stood
yeah,
next to each
yeah.
other in the group picture because everyone else is a foot shorter. But
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, so I was uncomfortable, but I mean, I got out there and I did it, and I more enjoy. I would say at that point, I more enjoyed like the process of starting like the diet to getting to the stage, and the stage was not my favorite part.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't think that like yeah, I started bikini because that's where my physique was at the time. But that wasn't like I'm not a bikini girl, like
Okay. Yeah, you like
I've
to,
been a tomboy my whole life. I'm 5'11". I don't wear heels. Like it's not who
oh,
I am. So it was just almost like it's not only you're getting out there and putting yourself out there like that, but you're almost pretending to be something that you're not.
ah,
That's how
yeah.
I
Oh,
felt
yeah.
anyway. So it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't. But at the time, I still wanted to do it. But that's where I was at physique wise. So that's why I
Yeah,
did
of
that.
course, it's a progression. You start maybe with the lightest division, and then you make your way
Yeah,
up
right.
to women's physique. But I guess did you do figure as well
I did.
before? Yeah.
So I also so part of my competing journey, if that's what you want to call it, kind of hate using that word, but was that I did a bunch of different organizations. So I did WBFF, I did MPC,
Okay.
I did OCB. So I tried bunch of different ones in a bunch of different not a bunch of different categories in each one, but each organization has different categories than just what like MPC has and what IFBB has
Yes.
now. So I like dabbled in a couple different ones. Um, so then, probably around, I would say maybe around when I was like 32 was when I decided to just stick with MPC.
Okay.
Yeah. So at that point, I was like, all right, I'm ready for figure. I can do figure now. I didn't have to do any of the other
Yeah.
stuff. So,
Yep.
and that was more me. You still had to be in heels, but you didn't have to do all like the girly stuff
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
on stage, like
It's
I can't
more
do that shoulder shrug and the hair flip. That's not me. So
exactly. Yeah. With figure, you
right.
could.
So figured you're more
Yeah, you feel more the
stoic.
muscular. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You're,
Exactly.
yeah, more stoic, more concrete poses. So I liked it more.
Okay.
But my ultimate goal was to get into women's physique, and the person who made me want to do that was Dana Lynn Bailey because I thought she was
Oh
amazing.
well, yeah, she's a
Yeah,
legend. Yeah, Miss Olympia,
yeah,
former Miss
I
Olympia.
saw
Yeah.
her, and then she was the first one to win that category, and I was like, that's
I
where I want
wanna
to be,
be like
you
that.
know.
Yes,
And I
fair
loved
enough.
women's physique when it like looked like that and everything. Like I still love the way women's physique looks now, but it's obviously changed since
Yeah,
then.
yeah, yeah. With the time,
Yeah,
women's physique Olympia now is different from what Dana Lynn
right,
Bailey
way back
was
then,
back then.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Like all the other categories are too.
Yes,
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then Shanique Grant, she,
Oh,
in my opinion, still the best of all time for
oh
women's
yeah.
physique. I think, yeah,
She's another
who
legend. Yeah,
like perfect, perfect. Like
yeah.
I would still take that look over anything. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yeah, I
I
agree.
thought
I agree.
she was by far the best. I still don't think anyone compares to her, but that's just my opinion. I think all the other girls are great too,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so anyway, so that's where I eventually wanted to be was in women's physique. So I had done my last time I can't really say that, but the last time I competed as an amateur in figure, I did a local show. The MP, I don't know, I can't remember the name of it, but it's the one in Connecticut. The Super Gym has it. One of the
Okay.
Montanari brothers shows. I don't remember. They have two a year. I can't remember which one I did. It
Okay.
was
Okay.
well, actually, it was the one in June. So 2018 in June was my last time competing in figure as an amateur. And I can't remember where I placed, but I remember I got off stage and I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't want
Hmm.
figure anymore. I was
You
like, I want
wanted
to, next time I step on
women's
stage, I want to
physique.
do the
Yeah.
category I want to do. So
Fair
my
enough.
plan was to take off 2019,
Mm-hmm.
to try to put on more size because again I'm tall, so it
Yeah,
takes me time.
it's takes yeah some more work. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't go crazy with drugs or anything like that either, so
Okay.
that makes it take even longer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Of course, it
because
takes
I
time.
come
Yeah.
off and I
Yeah.
take very mild supplements,
Yep.
and then yeah, so it's going to take me a long time. Anyway, so I purposely took off 2019, and actually, my boyfriend at the time, he used to compete in men's physique, and he
Mm-hmm.
turned pro in 2018. Like right after I did that last show in June, I think he turned pro like that next month.
Okay.
So then I was like, well, this is perfect because then I can just like diet with him for his first pro show. So like I'll be in shape too. Like we can do it
Makes
together, but we'll
sense.
focus on
Yeah.
him. I won't be in a crappy mood because I'm in prep too and just let it be about him, you know? But in the meantime, I can grow too.
Okay.
So that was what happened in 2019. And then 2020, as we all know, the year of COVID.
Ah, yes.
So I started dieting without obviously knowing that COVID was coming. The beginning of December, because I wanted to compete at a show. I think I wanted to do the show in Long Island, the NPC show, Steve
Mm-hmm.
Weiberger show. Um, and I think that it was like, I forgot the month, but it was like an earlier in the year show, like March, or maybe it was April. So that was my goal. I was like, I want to start in December and then do that show. So
Yep.
unfortunately, March was when everything around here at least
Yeah.
closed down. And
Lockdown
yeah,
and everything. Gym
yeah,
closed.
when the
Yeah.
whole world went to shit. Yep. So they kept on postponing the shows and then they kept on canceling kind of last minute. So I just kind of always stayed in like a diet phase. So like when everyone was
Okay.
drinking
So
and gaining weight during
you were
COVID,
keeping yourself ready to step on stage as soon as they open
or at least within
competition.
striking distance. Like that's what was in my head. So I fortunately had started my own personal training facility. Fortunately and unfortunately, because business wise, starting a business right before COVID hit seems like
Mm,
it's not ideal, but I still have my business now and it's 5 years later. So I
that's
think we're
good.
okay.
That's great. Well done. Well
So I
done. That's the most
survived it.
important thing because, yeah,
Yeah.
with COVID, lots of businesses had issues. So it's great that you
Right.
managed
And I was able to
to
like
keep.
I was able to stay open because I was also listed as a rehab facility.
Okay.
So I
Oh,
was
great.
essential. So I had my studio. So I worked out in my own spot the entire
Fantastic.
time things were closed down. So I was fortunate enough to have
Yeah.
that where I
Yeah,
know a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
people did not. Um, so anyway, so I kept on like staying within like striking distance and staying on my diet. I never fell off of it. And then they were still canceling shows as of like in that summer, even though things were starting to open up, they were still canceling shows because of obviously restrictions at venues and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah, true.
So they canceled the last show I was shooting for, and I was just finally, I was like, you know what? It's not happening this year. Like, so I
Yeah, yeah.
stopped again in the summer of 2020. And by stopped, I just meant stop being so strict, you know?
Okay, yeah. You
Um,
you 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 gave your body a break. You were taking
because I
it
had
more
been
easy.
going since the December before. So now it was like July and I was still doing it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's a
Exactly.
long time.
Yeah. No, putting your body
Um,
to through that stress when you cannot compete. Yeah,
right. Or just
would not be
unknowing,
very.
like if that date is going
Yeah,
to like,
yeah.
am I going to compete? Am I not going to compete? So obviously that year sucked for everyone as far as
Mm-hmm.
competing goes. So then,
Oops. Sorry.
that's okay. Oh, there we go.
All right. Okay. All right. I'm back. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay, we can continue. Hopefully, it's not gonna fall again.
All
Okay.
right. So where I left off was decided not to compete in 2020 because the shows kept on getting canceled and everything. So um, then I was like, all right, well, let me shoot for next year. So at
Yep.
that point, I had hired a coach um, who I'd never worked with before. And I started prep at the very beginning of January. And because I had never worked with this coach before, I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to shoot for like a later show. And I actually like long prep, so I don't mind like being in prep for a long time. So I was like thinking my first show was going to be in June, even though I wanted to start
Okay.
in January. But I also wanted this coach to figure out what he was working with. Um, so anyway, I started dieting, got really good results.
Mm-hmm.
I ended my first show that I did in June of 2021 was I did the Atlanta States Steve Weinberger show in New
Okay.
York. Yeah, I took the overall there. women's physique. So I had never stepped on stage in 2 years, and I had never done women's physique ever.
So that was your first attempt as a WPD athlete, and you won the overall and the pro
Yeah,
card.
well, NPC. So I was still an amateur in 2021. And so,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So the first show I did was the Atlanta States, and I took the overall there. And now these shows were like pretty decent size at this point too, because everyone wanted to compete in 2021 because everyone missed 2020.
Oh yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
So it was,
Yeah. So
and
it is.
I like when I took the over, I had never won a show before that point. So that was like probably one of the most, I would say that that was equivalent.
Yeah.
That was equivalent to when I won my pro card, because that feeling, like
You can
it was amazing.
imagine. I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you realize, okay, this is
This is where I'm supposed to
definitely
be.
my division. That's where I'm supposed to be.
Right,
Fair
right, right.
enough. Fair enough.
So then 2 weeks later, so it was still June because that first show was the beginning of June. 2 weeks later, I competed in Maryland.
Yep.
Um, Same thing, women's physique. So it was only my second time competing women's physique. I took the overall at that show too. Um, it was a little bit of a smaller show, but I mean, it's still what in my mind. So my rule for myself
Mm-hmm.
before I turned pro was I'm not doing a national show until I take an overall. Because I don't want to spend the money on a show that is more expensive than all the rest if I don't think I have a shot to, like, if I come in
Of course. Yep.
third at a regional show, what makes me think that, especially if nationals is so close, what, like, I wanted to take an overall. That was my own rule. Like, I didn't want to go to nationals until I did that. And I did it twice before I went. So then
Okay.
so Universe was it was the first week of July, all the same year. So I did beginning of June, middle of June. So now it's the beginning of July. They had to move the. I did Team U. I did Universe, which is normally in
Mm-hmm.
Teaneck, but they
Yep.
moved it to Charleston, South Carolina, because there was still restrictions up in
Okay.
New York.
In New York.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So they moved it. So me and my best friend, who still comes with me to all my shows, we
Oh,
drove
great.
17 hours to South Carolina.
Wow.
Yep. Um,
Ah, you
and
drove all the way there.
we
Okay.
yeah we well, because also the prices of tickets for planes at that point, I think probably because they're trying to make up for COVID or whatever, it was like $1,200 to fly down
Yeah.
for one
Yeah.
person.
Flights straight after COVID were crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So we're just like, fuck it, we're gonna just drive. And both of
Fair
us like
enough.
road trips. So I actually did some of that trip myself. I think I drove the first 7 hours and he drove the rest of it. And then the way
Okay.
back, we split the trip, obviously, because now I'm not competing anymore, so I could handle more.
Mm-hmm.
So competed in at Universe. I didn't take the overall, but I competed in 35 plus, and I won that class. And then in open, so I got my pro card in 35 plus, and then in the open class, I ended up coming in second. And in Universe, they
Okay.
give the pro cards to the first and second person. So
Oh, all
technically,
right.
even if
Excellent.
I
So you
just
got.
did one, I would have gotten my pro card, but I did two and I got my pro card in both. If that's what you, I look to me,
Okay,
it's
that's
one
good.
pro card, but
Yeah,
I got
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes,
it.
that's what matters. You got it.
Right,
So
exactly,
you can
exactly.
compete with the pros now. Yeah. And
Yeah,
this is
exactly.
2021,
2021. Yep,
2021. Okay.
yep.
And yep.
Go ahead.
No, and you did your pro debut when?
So I did my pro debut. So my first time I did competed as a pro was 2022. I used the same coach. I didn't get the same quality service, I guess you could say. But also too, it wasn't entirely just that. I was going through a lot of personal things at that point too.
Okay.
That was affecting the way I looked, my cortisol levels.
Mm,
I should not have competed that year when I look back, but at the same time, I'm glad that I did, because it made me realize this is no joke, these girls. You know, and not that I ever
yeah.
thought that they were, but like, you can be a kick-ass amateur, and then once you're standing next to these pro girls, you're like, oh wow, now
Yeah.
I'm like,
So
it's
you
like
noticed.
starting over.
Yeah,
So
you notice straight away that yeah, pro level is of course a massive gap with
Huge gap. So I'm glad that I
amateur.
saw it
Yeah.
because then I got to see what I look like next to
Okay.
them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
So
That
and
makes
so even
sense.
even though I was not even close to at my best, like I looked better when I turned pro. I looked better that
Yeah.
year
Oh,
before, you
really?
know.
Okay.
But I'm glad I did it because I wanted to see what I was
Yeah.
up against, basically. So I competed
Exactly.
at the Pittsburgh Pro in
Pittsburgh Pro. Yeah.
2022, and
That's
then I
good.
competed at the New York Pro in 2022. By far the worst I ever looked as a pro, and luckily it was my first year, and I keep on getting better now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yes.
yes, that's very important.
Yeah.
So I did those two shows. It was not a good season for me, but I was glad that I did it. I like to try to find the good in any situation, so I found the good in that.
That's a good,
Um,
great attitude. Yeah.
yeah. So then, even though like I knew it wasn't entirely like the coaches, it wasn't all the coach, but I also knew that he didn't really care either. Um,
Okay.
it was the personal things too that was happening to me. So, but my point being is going into the next year, I wanted to find a new coach. And I don't need somebody to hold my hand. I don't need a coach to hold
Mm-hmm.
my hand at all. I tell me what to do and I will do it.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
The problem that I had the year before or in 2022 is like I'm doing exactly what you tell me and I'm putting myself into the ground and my body's not changing. Something's wrong here. Why are you telling me
Okay.
to keep on going doing the same thing? That's what didn't make sense to me. So I was
Yeah.
like,
Fair enough.
it made me feel like I was just a number. And I was like, and again, I don't need a coach to be my best friend. And I don't need my hand held, but like, show that you care a little bit. Like,
Of
I'm paying
course. Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
like,
it's
what?
important. Yeah.
Right? Like, what the
You're the
hell?
client. Yeah. You need to see that change in your
Right,
body. If you don't
exactly. Because then
see
what
it,
you're spinning your wheels for nothing.
yeah. 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 Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it happens. Athletes change coaches all the time. If
Yeah, of course, of course. And
yeah.
I don't think switching coaches, like every time you don't do well, is always the
No,
answer
no,
either.
exactly. But you
Um,
tried. You gave him a
Right.
go,
I gave
and
it 2 years and it just like the first year, I'll give him credit. I turned pro with him. But after that, like it just went downhill. So I was like, I just need a change. So,
mm-hmm,
in December of 2022, before I was going to get into my next prep, which was going to be January, I started to like brainstorm different people I wanted to work with. And, I watch bodybuilding podcasts all the time. So one of the
mm-hmm.
people that I always enjoyed listening to and like, his mentality when it comes to the sport and how he goes about things and even like just his personality and different things like that like really drew me to him was Jose Raymond. So
Okay.
and he's a Boston guy and I'm in Providence, so like the
Ah,
other
nice,
benefit that
nice.
I saw was like I can actually go and see you in real life too because Boston's only an hour
Fantastic.
from here.
Yeah,
um
that's great. That's great.
right, and I just loved his whole mentality with the sport. And again, I actually loved, like, I know it sounds silly, but like his sarcasm and his humor I felt like matched mine. So I was like, I feel like I would like to work
All
with him. Like I
right.
felt like it was going to be like a good vibe. So I reached out to him on Instagram. We decided to work together. So I started working with him the very beginning of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I've been with him for 2 years and I am not leaving him ever. So
You
I
think?
hope, I
Okay,
hope he's
that's
cool
good.
with that because I'm not leaving him
Yeah, yeah.
ever,
I mean,
ever,
it.
ever.
The
And even though like
important
I
is
haven't
that
won a
you're happy.
show,
Yeah,
I haven't won a show, but I keep on getting
not
better
yet, but
every single time I
yes,
compete. And that's all I care about. And he makes it
yes.
fun. He makes it fun. And the other good thing about him is that like he's not starving me into shape the whole time. Like he feeds me into shape so I can
Mm-hmm.
train hard at the gym, you know? So it's just a very different approach than what I was used to doing. And it
Awesome.
makes
Yeah,
you look better, obviously. You shouldn't be starving
yeah,
yourself to
yeah,
get in
yeah.
shape. Like that's didn't realize that's
So,
not what you were supposed to be doing because that's how most people
mm-hmm.
do it. Um, so anyway, so New York Pro 2023 was the first time I competed under Jose's wing.
Yeah.
And then I did Toronto in June, and then I did Daytona in September. And every single time I did a show, I got better and better and better. And even though I stayed
So
in
you
prep,
kept improving each show, beating your previous
my previous look, and
physique
that's
and
that's really
condition.
all. Like everyone who competes wants to go to the Olympia, obviously. I want to get there too, but in my own mind, what makes competing fun is if you're not worried about where you place when you're just concerned about like having fun and beating what you looked like the last time. So
Yes.
like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
if I keep on doing that, why would I stop? Like I love to compete.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. You love
it's like
competing.
place me
You
where you
like.
want, you know? Like I like the
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
look.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
having fun. Um but yeah, of course
Awesome.
Olympia is always like everyone's end goal. So the same pattern happened this year. I did New York, Toronto, and
Okay.
then and I placed better each show than the year
Yeah.
before. My look improved each show, and then this last show was definitely my best look ever. So
Which
it's
was at the
exciting.
Clash,
I did
right?
Clash.
Your
Yep.
last.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was by far
Yeah.
my
You looked
best.
incredible on that
Mm.
show. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
loved. Not only did I love the way I looked, but that prep because I had done the two other shows earlier in the year. So when I restarted prep, I took like 5 6 weeks off after Toronto. And when I
Mm-hmm.
started prep, I was already in good shape. So dieting into that show was like enjoyable. Because I
Yeah.
didn't have to
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
super high with cardio. I didn't have to go. I ate the same amount of carbs throughout the entire thing until like the last 2 weeks. And my
Okay.
conditioning was on point. So like my issue on stage is always size, but it's always size because of the height difference,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
me just look
Absolutely.
different than somebody who's 5'5". My back
Yes.
definitely needs more size, but I mean, other than that, according to the
Everything
feedback
else
that I
is
got at Clash, is everything is there. My back just needs to be wider, and that's been my battle
okay.
this whole time.
So
Um,
you need to work a bit more on your back,
well, the
increase the size, the width.
Right, the width, right.
Yep.
So the crazy thing is I train my back all of the time. Number one because
Okay.
I love it, but number two because I know that that's what I need to improve. It's just like my stubborn
Yep.
body part, you know, it just doesn't want to, and it's my structure too. I have high lat insertions on top of it. So it just like looks different. So that's always the feedback. That's been the feedback
Yep.
for the past two shows that I got. It's like your presentation's great, your conditioning's great, the aesthetic, the balance, everything's there. It's just the width of the back.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the the struggle
Um,
continues, but I'm not giving up.
no, 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 never, never. Do you have already mind for next season which show you're gonna do? You're gonna do the same shows, or
So I like
you're
just
gonna?
I like do so the year before. So I did Pittsburgh that first year, which is different. I've been
Okay.
doing the New York. I love the New York Pro. I know it's a
New
harder
York Pro is a
show,
great show.
but
It's amazing.
it's well run. I love the energy. It's New Englanders, you know, like in this area, so we're all the same kind of
Yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah.
So it's
Fair enough.
fun, you know, and New York's only 3 hours for me, so it's easy to get
Fantastic.
there.
Yeah.
I just drive, bring my food, stay at the venue. I just love that show. I don't care if it's a harder show. That's usually the first one I do of the
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. It's
I actually really like the Toronto show, and so what I've noticed with the women's physique schedule is we don't have as many shows as everybody else does. So it's kind of limited in that regard just because there's not as many. That's number one. And then number two, so I'm 39. So a lot of times, if even if I want to do like a master's show, they start at 40. So until I'm not 40 until August. So it's like I
mm-hmm.
can't pick one of those either. And then I look at like logistics. So Toronto is at least East Coast, same time zone. I can drive
Yeah.
there. It's 8 hours, but that's not a bad drive in my opinion. So that's usually why, and then it's a couple weeks after New York, so it's like all within the same prep.
Okay. Okay.
So it just makes sense for me to do those two, and I like them both a lot. I really did love the Clash show. I thought that was probably the most fun I had
That's in
competing.
Florida. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Orlando.
that was the most fun I had competing probably ever. And it
Mm-hmm.
was the girls that competed were awesome. I was like not dying because like I said, that prep was like I don't want to call it
Okay.
easy because it's so crazy to call it easy or even consider calling it easy because that was by far the best I ever looked. So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it felt like it wasn't even as torturous as
But
other things, but that was my best, you know? So
oh, nice.
I was in
Great.
a
Great.
really good mood, I guess you could say, at
Wow.
that
Wow.
show.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Yeah.
Right.
Your
So
body
that was
was
probably the
responding
most
well.
fun that I ever
Mm-hmm.
had. So I would definitely consider doing that show again. But I
Okay,
think
okay.
that I'll shoot for New York Pro, and then I'll more than likely do Toronto. But obviously, it's the schedule just came out, so there could be more shows that pop up. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, you were saying, yeah, for your division with women's physique, you may not have as many shows as for other divisions,
yeah, we don't have it as many options.
but still, I mean, compared to what we've got here in Europe, yeah, you've got lots of
Right.
options. Yeah, yeah,
And I
true.
always prefer, like, I will fly to a show. I didn't drive down to Florida when I competed. We flew. Same thing
Hmm.
when I went to Daytona. But to me, driving and having everything I needed in my car,
Yeah, yeah,
I
it's
feel more
an
comfort in that.
advantage.
And then you're not
True.
worried about flights getting canceled and
The
or different
bag being
different
delayed,
time
or
zones. You
yeah,
don't have to worry about any of that. So that's part of the reason why
because
I pick the shows that I do.
I I heard horrible stories of athletes not getting their bags and with the food, with everything in it, with sometimes even
Always a fear.
the
Yeah.
suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, so
So
that's what
yeah,
I was trying
driving.
to. I try to avoid that if I can, so I can avoid that if I do New York and if I do Toronto.
Yeah,
Plus,
yeah,
those are
true.
both very well run shows. I like the venue at both of them, and I especially New York Pro. I love that vibe.
New
I
York
love it.
Pro, yeah,
Yeah,
is one of those shows I've been buying the live streaming for the last 3 years or something like that.
yeah,
And
I love
I
that
don't
show.
wanna, I never wanna miss that show. It's one of my
Yeah,
favorites.
it's awesome. I agree. So
Absolutely, yeah.
that is the plan. So I am in my off season now.
Hmm.
So it's been 2 months since I competed. So I'll probably start. And again, I like long prep. So I've been still doing my off season with Jose. So I've still been making sure I keep in check. So I'll probably start my next prep for New York. I'll probably start 18 weeks out just
Okay,
to
18
ease
weeks. Yeah.
into it.
Hmm.
So that would be, I think when I counted the weeks, I think that's like January 18th, maybe is 18 weeks
Hmm.
out or around that time frame. Maybe it's the week before. I'm not sure. Um, so I'll start a long prep for that.
Okay,
Um, and yeah,
great.
so that's right now what's in my head. Unless other shows start popping up for women's physique. I know last year they had some pro shows that originally had women's physique, and then girls weren't signing up for it. So a lot of them, so I feel like some of those shows aren't even bringing it back. So it limited the schedule even more.
Mm,
Um,
mm, mm, mm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, about that, yeah. What do you think is going to be the future for female bodybuilding, especially your division, women's physique and women's bodybuilding, the heaviest one? Do you think there's going to be longevity for these divisions, which is what
Well,
you
I
hope?
hope they
Or
keep it because I
yeah,
I like what happens to the girls that are like in that in between? Like you're not figure, but you're not a bodybuilder either. Like I don't want to put on 30 I'm 5'11". What
all
is that?
right, yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not trying to put on 30 pounds of muscle. I'm not trying to do that. Like, and the thing that I was drawn to women's physique was that it's supposed to be more aesthetic. And so this is how I view the women's bodybuilding and women's physique. I compare it to the men's classes as classic and bodybuilding.
Okay,
I feel
yes,
like that
true.
should be the difference, right?
Yes, yes,
One's more
yes.
aesthetic and
Yep.
less muscular, and the other one is
Last one is the
be a
more
freak.
hardcore one.
Right.
Yes,
Be
yeah,
a
yeah,
freak.
yeah.
Be as freaky as you want, you know? Um, so hopefully they don't get rid of it because it's my
I really,
personal
yeah,
favorite
yeah.
category,
I
obviously.
really, really hope because I mean, I saw that they made an announcement a month ago about this new division, that fit model
Mm.
division, which I don't know. It's my hope is that they are not trying to move into softer and
Well,
lighter divisions. Uh,
I mean, so that I guess it would just be a matter of like the criteria of the judging, it like matching what the category is supposed to be, and then everyone has their place, because then
Yes, yes.
if the judging gets done according to what they say that it's supposed to be for that category, then people know what to shoot for. So I feel like as long as the lines aren't blurred on what you're supposed to look like, then everything, have all the classes. I mean,
Yeah,
I know a lot of people are hating on that fit model category, and I understand, because like they're adding an extra category, an extra girls categories
yeah.
to make the shows even longer. Like, why do you keep on that? Well, I remember when they were bringing on wellness, like started wellness, right? And people were like, "Well, what is this? You're making the show." Wellness is like one of my favorite women's categories. I
Oh,
love
wellness is
wellness,
a
and
great, yeah, yeah,
I
it's a
love
great
wellness. Like those girls
division.
are
Yeah,
amazing
yeah,
looking. That's not my lane. I don't have that lower body,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
yeah, but I watch those girls and I think that they're badass.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah,
them.
yeah.
So like
That's
people
I
were skeptical of that category too. So who knows what's gonna come
no,
with
no.
this new one?
But I had the chance to see quite a few wellness competitions, and I was always impressed. And not only with the pros, also with the amateurs. Great, great
Yeah,
physique. So yeah, big respect for that division. No,
exactly. So and
yeah,
that
my
category came out
worries.
what, 3 years ago,
Yeah,
roughly.
yeah, it's quite new. Yeah,
Yeah, it's on the newer side, and when they were bringing that in, everyone was like, "Oh, what is this now?" But
yeah, yeah.
now everyone loves wellness. So
Yes, yes. My only worries is I really hope they're not going to add this fit model everywhere and maybe remove women's physique, women's
right, I hope
bodybuilding from
not.
other shows.
I hope
I
not.
really hope not. That's not gonna happen because bodybuilding is bodybuilding, and without women's physique and women's bodybuilding it's not the same
Right.
anymore.
You're right. Right. I just think
Yeah,
that
so
so I think that
I
that might have.
really,
I think there just needs to be clear cut, like judging criteria, and those things need to be followed, like according to what the category is supposed to be. And I think
yes,
that
yes,
if that's happening, I think the girls who are in women's physique or in any of the categories, they're going to want to compete more because they know what they're supposed to look like. They know what they're
yeah,
shooting for.
yeah, yeah,
So like it's going to be it's discouraging for girls to, or anybody to, like, okay, this is the criteria. They match that criteria, and then they reward a girl that looks like, if you're in figure, they're rewarding a girl that looks like women's physique, or they reward a girl that looks like bikini. It's like, well, what are we supposed to do here?
yeah,
So I
yeah,
think I think
true,
it can
true,
be
true.
discouraging for people to not know what to look like. But
Yeah,
you're putting in all that work at the same time.
exactly,
So
exactly. So yeah, let's see what happens in
this
the
year,
future. But this year, yeah, yeah, it's going. I mean, I think this year we've seen some of the best lineups in women's physique and women's bodybuilding as well.
oh yeah,
I've,
yeah.
I've, uh, I've seen some amazing shows. Some here, I've been here in Europe, and I was lucky enough to see these shows, but also in America, it's been all fantastic. From I mean, of course, the Olympia last this year, the Olympia was incredible.
Hmm.
I loved every single division. The athletes were fantastic, and I really, really hope it keeps going like this
Yeah.
for the future.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's been fun to watch
it's
and be a part of.
yeah, yeah. Have you ever been to the Olympia to see the show?
No, no, no. I
No.
am gonna try to get to the Arnold's this year.
Ah, the Arnold's, yeah.
Yeah.
But at
Um,
the Arnold's, will there be women's
women's they don't
physique?
have women's physique at the Arnold's,
Yeah,
but I just want to go. I want the experience. I've never been, so I'm gonna
yeah.
start
I've
with
been
the
to the
Arnold's, and then
Arnold's.
eventually I'll get to the Olympia too. Um,
Yeah. Well, hopefully as a competitor.
as a
Yeah.
contestant, then that's
Yeah.
ideal. That would be
Yeah,
ideal.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sure you will get there. Sooner or
That's the
later, you
goal.
will get. You will
That's
get
the
there.
goal. I ain't gonna
I
quit.
have.
So
I have no doubt. I have no doubt. You've got that
thank you.
passion. You love the sport. You've been in the sport for many years. You've always
Yeah,
Loptic
I'm
just
not
told us
stopping.
the story.
So
So yeah, if you've got this passion that drives
yeah,
you,
right. It
the
helps the
sky is the
odds,
limit.
right? When you refuse to quit, it helps your odds.
Plus, your body is responding well. You're improving every show.
Yeah.
So
What's
yeah,
insane is that like I've improved every show over the past 2 years with all the prep I've been doing. A lot of times people take like that long off season to improve, and
yeah,
I've been able to improve every show, even being in prep. So it just shows the difference of like the approach with working with Jose
yeah,
versus somebody else, you know?
yeah. So in women's physique, right now, I mean, you mentioned that yeah, Dana Lynn Bailey is one of your inspiration, but right now, do you see an athlete that represent your ideal physique, or what represents best women's physique, despite from the Olympia result for you? What is
Um,
women's physique right now? Who
so
represents
the
that?
girl who won New York Pro, oh my God, what is her name?
Was it
Sharika?
Marika?
Sharika,
Ma-
I think it is.
Marika? No,
No, no, no.
Marika
I
Jones.
think
No,
her name starts with an S. I think it's Sharika. I
Sharika.
could be totally. It's the girl who won New York Pro this year, and I think she came in like fourth at the Olympia. She did well.
Oh yes. What's her name? Sharika or something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, I think she was like fourth. But God, I wish I knew her name. My old Instagram got hacked, so like I had her on there at one point, but I don't think she's on this new one.
Okay.
So I would look her up, but I don't think I have her on there, and I'm probably butchering her name on top of it.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think the black girl, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when
What's her
she won,
name?
so when she won New York, I was like, she should have
That's
won. Like
yeah, yep, yep,
absolutely,
yep.
and then I think she did a couple other shows, or at least one other show before the Olympia, and I think I don't know if she won that one, or but I when I was following her, I really really
She's got
like, yeah, I
the
really
type
like,
of physique that
because she's aesthetic, and to me she looks like women's physique, and she
yeah,
doesn't look like a bodybuilder. So that's
yeah,
why
yeah,
I
yeah,
like
yeah.
her look, is because to me that's what it should look like. But I
She's
mean, I'm
got
not
the
a
right
judge, but in my opinion, that's what it
of
should look like.
course, yeah, yeah, but it's I understand what you mean. Yeah, she's got the aesthetic, she got the muscle, the beauty, the elegance,
Yep.
everything into
Yeah, she
one
has
package.
a good
So
overall package. So I
yeah,
really
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
her,
yeah.
and she's on the newer side of competing. I don't know how long she's been competing, but um this year was the first year I had ever heard of her or competed with her.
Okay,
But yeah, no,
okay,
I like her look a lot.
fantastic. Yeah, and what is there anything in bodybuilding that you would like to change? Something that anything that you feel like, oh, it could be better if they do this or if this changes. Like for example, for me, one thing that really should change is the prize money
Mm.
for women.
For the women,
Yeah.
yeah. I can I
Yes,
can I
I
steal that
find.
one as an answer, because
Of
that's a
course
good.
you can. Of
Okay,
course you
I
can.
agree.
Yes. Yeah.
I agree. That one. Let's go with
I
that one.
find. Yeah. I find really sad that for it's the same sport. It's actually for women. It can be even harder.
Oh yeah, yeah. It is.
Yeah, yeah, for on every.
Yeah, it can be.
So I don't understand why there is such a massive gap between the men and the
Yeah, maybe a
women.
little
So
bit more even across the board. I
yeah,
agree.
yeah,
I actually do think that the guys should be getting, like, open men's bodybuilding should be getting paid the most out of everybody. That's where it
yes,
started.
but I
That's what
mean,
but I think it should be more even across. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, they can be the highest, but it should be more towards other divisions too.
because I mean, Mr. Olympia Samson, you got $600,000.
Right.
Andrea Shaw got 50. So it's a massive. I'm not
It's a
saying that
big gap. Yeah, so
it's too
you're right.
much
It
of
should
a
be
gap.
dispersed a little bit better throughout the categories.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
men's bodybuilding, can it be the top? I agree, but maybe a little bit more even across the rest.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit. I understand. I mean, it's a marketing choice as well.
Hmm.
Men's open bodybuilding probably sells more. I don't know. That's what I was told. But
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. When I'm at a show, the category I like watching the most is open men's bodybuilding,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm women's
yeah.
physique. So I
Fair enough.
understand it, but
But
yeah.
I have to tell you, last year, was it last year? Yeah, in 2023, I was in Romania for the Masters. I went to
Hmm.
see the Masters Olympia, and women's bodybuilding had the same amount of people, the same energy in the crowd that had the men opens bodybuilding. So that was really, really impressive to see so many people supporting the women's division in the same way they were
Yeah, yeah, that's
supporting them.
awesome.
And I thought, yeah, so this means, this proves that people don't pay the tickets just to see the men,
Yeah,
but
no,
they
I
pay.
totally agree. I mean,
So
and
yeah, yeah,
I mean, people like to watch the women on stage too,
exactly,
but
exactly.
right.
So it it would be great if that would reflect
No, it
as
would be
well
for sure.
on the
I agree with
price.
your answer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We will see. Fingers crossed. I
Yes.
will keep mentioning this in my podcast. I
Maybe the right
discuss
person will
this
hear
a
it.
lot with the female bodybuilding channel, with the guys from female bodybuilding channel. I mean, we are all on the same wavelength on that, and
Yeah.
we hope that female bodybuilding keeps growing, keeps getting more and more popular, because you ladies are working very, very hard. It's impressive.
Oh yeah.
We really admire what you do. You make fantastic lineups, fantastic shows, and you totally deserve more credit for that. That's
Agreed.
absolutely, yeah, no discussion about it. Um, do you do you receive support in your local community, in your gym, in your with
Oh
your
yeah.
family, friends? Do you get lots of
Hmm.
support? Yeah.
Oh yeah. They're all used to me.
Ah, that's fantastic. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
it's good.
Yeah, yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
So
everyone's very encouraging, and I get told on
I
a
love it.
regular
Yes,
basis how inspiring I am to people. So
that's
that's
what I want to
especially with
hear.
what I do. I own a private training facility,
Yeah,
and I try to help people
yeah,
live better, healthier lives and get fit and reach goals. And so to hear that from random people, like that's exactly what I want, you
fantastic.
know?
Yeah, this is what I want to
I mean,
hear.
I'd be
Yes.
doing it regardless. Don't get me wrong. If
Yeah,
everyone was
yeah. Of
against me doing
course.
it, I'd still be doing it because I love it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of
So
course.
I do what I want to do and I love what I do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it feels great when someone like messages you out of the blue just to tell you to keep on going because I inspire them every day. Like
Fantastic.
I don't even realize that I'm doing that for people.
Yeah, yeah,
That's an
no, you
amazing feeling
do,
when
you
someone tells
do,
you that.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure, I can see through also my platforms on YouTube and Instagram. I try to promote as much as I can female bodybuilding, and there is a massive community of people supporting it. People
Yeah.
want
There.
to see, and it's great that they reach out and they find
And tell
inspiration
you,
and
right?
tell you find inspiration on what you do, and
Right.
this is fantastic. And you were mentioning about your training facility. You have your own. It's your business, right?
Yeah, that was what I had started in the beginning, or sorry, the end of
Eh,
2019,
yeah,
right before COVID hit.
yeah,
I was working for corporate gyms before that. I was
and
regional
then
manager of a couple different places. So I've always been in the fitness industry since I was 19, and then I just got sick of like the corporate nonsense. So I finally decided to go off on my own and do my own thing, and I've been doing it for 5 years now, and it just
awesome,
keeps on growing and growing and growing. So it's doing really well, and I love it because then I get to make my own schedule, and I just get to have to deal
fantastic.
with my clients, and yeah, I love being my own boss. So
Awesome, awesome.
yeah.
And do you, if you wanna say the name, we can put it in this.
The only reason I don't want to say it right now is because we're supposed to be changing the name of it this
Ah,
year.
okay, okay.
So right now it's called Fit Source Rhode
Fit
Island,
Source,
but
Rhode
we might be
Island.
changing
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I
Um,
saw a
it's
link
it's on my it's in my bio
in your bio.
on
Yes,
my
yes. I will
Instagram.
put
Yeah.
this temporary name for now in,
Yeah.
and
And
then I
actually,
can.
if you want to put my name of my new Instagram account, because my last account got hacked, we can do that too.
Yes, yes, I will. I
Uh,
will
okay.
definitely do it. And do you do also coaching services as well? Do you do coaching?
Like online?
Online coaching? Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I'll work with people online
Oh,
too.
okay, okay, cool, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
So I do both. I do in person and I do online.
Fantastic, fantastic. Yes, Angela, I think we reached, yeah, 1 hour. I don't want to keep you too long, but I wanted to thank you so much for your time. It was very, very interesting. I really appreciate your time and
No problem. I loved it.
for telling us your story. It was very, very inspirational. And I'm looking forward to see you on stage again next year. You're gonna smash it, no doubt about that.
Can't wait. I can't wait.
Yes, yes, yes. You will. It will be 2025. It will be a great year. Yeah,
Sure
I like
is.
to hear that passion that you put in it, and
Oh,
it's
I
gonna
love it.
be
I
so.
love
Next,
it so much.
the next show, the first one you're gonna do is going to be New York Pro, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yep.
Okay,
That's
okay.
the plan, unless they add another show to the roster that is makes sense for me to do, then maybe I'll throw that one in there too. I like doing a show that I've never done.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I did Daytona the year before, 2023,
Yep,
and I did Clash this year,
yep.
just to get like that different experience. So we'll see.
Fantastic. Okay,
Hmm.
perfect. Thank you so much again. And I wish you a happy new year because we are nearly there at the end of the year.
Almost
So,
2025.
oh,
Yes.
yes, yes. And
Um.
hopefully we can do another one of this later in the new year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you
Definitely.
can give us some updates on your preparation. Okay?
Yes.
Okay,
Sounds good.
perfect. Okay, I will post this in the next, probably tomorrow or the day after. But I
Okay.
will tag
Sounds
you.
good.
I will make a post in
All right. Bye. Have a good day.